You don't leave it to NEMA. You handle it there and then. Supposing there's a garbage problem where you stay at home, are you going to call the government, or you are the one to talk to the neighbors to clean the environment? That's what we are supposed to do. We all need to get involved in this matter so that we make our environment clean. And the issue of the environment, like Pascal said, take an example, the oil region, which some of you have been there. How many of you have been to oil region? Now you know it better. Even the oil region, where the garbage or environment seems to be very complicated, but now they have handled it. We have a department or sector handling the environment directly, so that the environment within the oil graben is handled directly. So there's no big problem about that. We all have to get involved. Let us inform the country. Let us inform the citizen. Let us inform the people what SDG is doing, so that you don't sit back and say, okay, for me, I don't know what is happening. The country is working together as a team so that we make sure SDG is promoted according to the goals which we have, the 17.
Now, the East African Community ESC Command Post Exercise CPX 2023 Ushirikiano Imara 2023 has kick-started a 3-day clinic exercise at the Rwanda Defense Force Command and Staff College. The clinic is aimed at ensuring that all exercise participants are fully oriented into eat effectively and efficiently, and they are participating in this exercise and they may deliver the exercise objectives. The clinic will be based on the EAC protocol on cooperation in defense affairs, roles and responsibilities of mission and force headquarters staff in an integrated mission environment. It will stimulate the challenges faced in peace support operations to protect civilians in a hostile environment, coordination in mechanisms of mission headquarters and the components in an integrated mission, combating terrorism, counter piracy and disaster management. The exercise director, Major General Andrew Kagame, thanked the partner states and the East African Community Secretariat for their consistent support, continued commitment and sacrifice through all the planning stages of concept development, initial planning, main planning and the final planning to make the exercise a reality. Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities is in advanced stages of developing the source of the Nile in Jinja district, and the aim is to improve the exercise of tourists who visit the area. The developments will cover a radius of 3 kilometers from the source of the Nile, and all the people who will be affected have already been assured of adequate compensation. We're sorry about that. That wasn't the story I called for, but of course, let's go straight away to Karamoja Blood Center. Now, Karamoja sub-region has received a blood donation and collection plus distribution center at Moroto Regional Referral Hospital, a 1.4 billion shillings facility that was funded by the Embassy of Ireland through Doctors with Africa QM, with officiating That was while officiating at the function. The ambassador of Ireland to Uganda, His Excellency Kevin Colgan, said this will reduce preventable maternal deaths. The 9 districts sub-region has been depending on blood from Nakasero Blood Bank and Mbale Regional Blood Banks. Let's hear more in this report.
Which is not in conflict with our funding partners. It is now our time to persuade government, and it's beginning with the local governments, to say these are our ideas, can we fund it?
Development strategy, and it has investment plan phased in 5 years. So the first 5 years, the investment plan is also out. When it is done, we shall be reviewing to see what we have achieved, what have we not achieved, and then find ways of trying to gather more support to achieve. The partners have been coming in, they just touch a bit of an area, leave it hanging, they touch a bit, but now we are looking at it. If you're coming in for peace and security, what is it about peace and security that you want to do? How do you want to achieve it? How will you do it? The methodology, you want to see that you do a complete intervention. You don't leave it hanging like you're now only targeting maybe the leaders and you stop there. Because we believe peace starts from the grassroots. If it is livelihoods, what are you bringing? Are you only going to say we are going to train farmers and you stop there? Or you are bringing a full package? So in this area, we really need development partners to design interventions that touches the last man in the village, not stopping somewhere and in the end your project is closed and we don't see any impact. People are still the same. That's what we are trying to fight. So those areas, peace, security, natural resources, infrastructure, and local economic development. Those are the key areas. We believe that if this strategy is adopted for the Karamoja region especially, it will guide development partners, because we see that most of the interventions in Karamoja are not coordinated. People come in and they don't know, other governments don't know, the other districts don't know, it's not coordinated. So Karedi is there to ensure proper coordination on development issues for Karamoja. And if this document is adopted, then it will guide that kind of confusion. When a partner comes, they'll be able to align themselves and say, okay, I'm for local economic development, I'm for peace, I'm for security, I'm for infrastructure. So in that way, we shall be able to monitor and see that all these areas are being undertaken. All these areas, at least something is being done. And that is how we shall be able to gain the regional development that we want. We decided to have this regional approach because we feel that things must be done from the region. Let the Karamojans think for themselves, get the ideas for themselves, and also get what can work for them as Karamoja.
To pick the priorities, to shop, and now they have included Karamoja agenda into NDP 3. Why? It is talking about.
Well, that was Karamoja development. Now into inclusive learning. The Ministry of Education and Sports is being urged to develop a specialized inclusive program that considers remoteness as a unique circumstance. Education experts oppose the idea of only providing special needs packages to the disabled learners, as they believe other disadvantaged learners should also benefit.
There are approximately 2 million children with special needs, but less than 50,000 of them are enrolled in schools due to various challenges such as inadequate learning materials and infrastructure.
And so schools and education institutions have to cultivate an environment that helps them thrive, ensuring that that education works for all, that we build inclusive schools and communities.
The fourth Sustainable Development Goal aims to ensure an inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, including learners in remote districts and those with diverse learning abilities.
Talk about communities that are underserved. A school in the rural area or a pastoral area like Karamoja will not be the same like a school in the central region, right? Urban schools, even in the urban areas, we cannot say schools and education institutions are the same. Our understanding of inclusivity is around the different barriers that affect our children's learning.
Education professionals advocate for an educational philosophy that supports a policy of skills-based assessment to facilitate the development of competence.
We are meaning what kind of person would you wish to see emerging through our education system? What could be the key principles, the key guidelines that could guide our education system in our country? In this case, we are looking at the terms of soft skills or life skills. Which kind of skills do we want to see someone graduating from our education system possess? Could we say we want, for example, a critical thinker, a problem solver, or someone who is creative?
Many schools lack the necessary resources and infrastructure to accommodate the needs of different learners. It is crucial to standardize the assessment of performance based on skill-oriented policies.
That our assessment models for education, for example, are so much focused on marks and scores as opposed to competences. So what I can write or explain an examination versus what I can do with the knowledge I acquired.
The Regional Education Learning Initiative is working towards improving policy outcomes by raising awareness and striving for a balanced approach that addresses the need of all learner categories, promoting inclusivity. Komagum Rogers and Abdul Nasir Lubwama for UBC.
And as we cross over to Jinja, Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities is in advanced stages to develop the source of the Nile in Jinja district. And the aim is to improve the experience of tourists who visit the area. The development will cover a radius of 3 kilometers from the source of the Nile, and all the people who will be affected have already been assured of adequate compensation.
This is the source of the Nile in Jinja district, one of the most distinctive tourist attractions in the country. However, the ambience at this source of the Nile is not appealing, and this explains why government, through the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, has decided to invest in the development of this area to improve visitor experience.
Transform the source of the Nile to world-class status. We all know that the site currently does not have the infrastructure that will attract tourists or that will engage travelers when they come to the site. So,
a 20-year master plan has already been developed by the consultant Strategic Friends International. The developments will cover a radius of 3 kilometers from the source of the Nile.
We are going to do a socio-economic baseline, we do a cadastral survey, and also do the evaluation, attach the evaluation to people's properties, which report we shall submit to the Office of the Chief Government Valuer, and after that, we do the compensation. But of course, compensation can be in two ways. It can be cash, but those people can opt for relocation.
Well, we are looking at 20 years, but you cannot have everything implemented in the shortest time possible. So we are phasing our developments, and we are starting, the five years are ending 2025, 2026, then we will now look at the next phase of implementation.
Stakeholders' sensitization meetings for the resettlement action for the acquisition of land for the source of the Nile development project have already started.
But the moment they see that things are actually happening, then the willingness, the preparedness to support the project is greatly enhanced. So I want to assure you that we are going to do whatever it takes to make sure that we give support to the project, and the noise that has been coming up, this noise we shall be able to contain, because everybody can see the benefit. People
Local leaders have pledged to support the development of the Source of the Nile project on grounds that it will contribute to the development of the area, but also improve on the country's earnings through tourism.
At 18 minutes past 1 o'clock, we're going to take a short break. Do not go away. We'll return with more on your lunchtime news.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *100*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*10#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*10# to get started.
Airtel. A reason to imagine.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
She is our family's pride, and as her father, I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Ebiseera by'okuzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu, kano kalippagano ka bidduka. Simanya kuzunga na banka siripusi. Kati osobola okusasula school fees z'omwana wo ate n'okola n'ebirala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo. Nyiga bunyizi *855*8 ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erunganisibwa banka enkulu ya Uganda.
Uganda is rich in natural resources and hard-working people. But to turn these resources into real progress and development, we need to invest in our infrastructure, education, and healthcare. That's where taxes come in. When we pay our taxes, we are investing in our country's future. We are supporting the schools that educate our children, the hospitals that care for our families, and the roads and bridges that connect our communities. And when businesses pay their taxes, they are contributing to the growth and development of Uganda's economy. They are helping to build a stronger, more prosperous nation for us all. So when you pay your taxes, you are investing in the future of Uganda and supporting the progress and development of our nation. Uganda is because of you.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Jerry con! Jerry con! Hey, Master Blaster! Touch him, man! Buy Jerry con with muscle! Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava! First group is I teach you. When I go to which Muscari, because of the cover is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Yeah? You stay put on it. Add kilometers to your legs and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru and Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru, Jerry car.
Okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako, n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga. Awamu teri kitulema.
Welcome back. Let's turn to the business desk. And of course, first and foremost, the Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amongi, has commended the establishment of the Global Coalition for Social Justice by the International Labour Organization. Director General Mr. Gilbert F. Hungbo, she pledged Uganda's commitment to actively engage the collaboration within the coalition, believing that by empowering workers, promoting social protection and addressing inequality, meaningful and lasting social justice can be achieved, leading to a brighter future for all. Speaking at a conference, Honorable Amonge emphasized the urgent need for robust public action to address social inequalities exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. She highlighted the pre-existing vulnerabilities and the income inequalities worsened by the pandemic have disproportionately affected women, girls and workers in the informal economy. Among us stressed the importance of strong international cooperation and solidarity for an equitable economy. She called for renewed commitment to social policies, protecting vulnerable groups, and emphasized the importance of universal access to social protection for economic and social plus food security, especially during uncertainties. Honorable Betty, Honorable Mong informed the conference that Uganda has implemented several initiatives to support vulnerable individuals.
Of vulnerability existed before the pandemic, each unique. We therefore call that in addition, income inequality made worse by pandemic, increased negative impact of drivers, mostly on women and girls. The hardest hit most are the informal economy, whose businesses cannot recover without government intervention. Uganda has thus put in place
Now, real estate agents and developers in Uganda have been challenged to spearhead professional and ethical standards on their jobs so as to be more competitive in the local, regional and global markets. The chairman of Uganda Surveyors Registration Board, Dr. Ronald Sengendo, was presiding over the closing ceremony for over 30 real estate agents and property developers training course on modern valuation methods at the East and Central Africa Management Institute in Kampala.
Ready to actively engage and collaborate with this coalition. We believe that together we can achieve meaningful and lasting.
As government, through the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, is in final stages of coming up with a law to regulate the real estate sector in Uganda, stakeholders in the sector have been challenged to spearhead more professionalism and ethical standards so as to be more competitive on national and international markets. The chairman of the Uganda Surveyors Registration Board, Dr. Ronald Sengendo, made the call while officiating at the closing ceremony of over 30 real estate agents and developers who were awarded certificates in modern valuation methods at the East and Southern Africa Management Institute in Kampala.
Licensed profession. Now you have to follow certain ethics, and investors can make or break you. So as you do this training, this is something we need to think about. We are going to properly engage in, and I'm very sure that out of this engagement, the end goal is to have a proper regulated sector.
The Executive Director of the Real Estate Institute of East Africa, Nicholas Arinaitwe, highlighted the significance of the training.
Every real estate agent must acquire the skills and knowledge of marketing a property and attaching price to it. So we need to teach them how to estimate price, how to determine the value of a property. That's what we are doing today.
Some participants, who included Wilberforce Nsamba and Sanjay Thakur, appreciated the training.
We've had so much insight on how to go about valuation in real estate. We as the agents and developers, we need to be equipped with the knowledge of how to value properties, how to value construction, because we are always in the business of putting out properties on market for sale. So we need to know how to factor in all the areas and what approaches and methods.
Have a training like this will really explain us the details of the valuation, industrial, residential and commercial both. This will help us also in the regular practice in real estate.
Some of the long-time trainers in the real estate industry, who included Dr. Ben Mugera from Uganda Management Institute, Paul Mungati, among others, were also awarded certificates of recognition.
Uganda National Renewable Energy Agency and Solar Association of Uganda is in a bid to provide alternative sources of energy and have proposed mini-grids as an alternative reliable energy source in rural areas. This was during a mini-grids workshop and feasibility study in Kampala.
So with extension of power to the rural market and more access to the local people that are outside the urban areas, this definitely leads to social economic transformation. So if you have electricity, you generally have much more hours to work. You have more hours to study. So if you have a school, rather than closing at 7 p.m. and opening at 8 p.m., you have longer hours of study, meaning that you're more productive. Then you have businesses that will come up because of access to electricity. So you're looking at your simple case of salons, small shops that can have refrigeration. You have your welders that need access to power to do fabrications. Now that creates business opportunities for the local people that are within the mini-grid area.
Like I said, government, the first role of government is to provide the enabling environment. So one is that we provided an enabling environment, and of course we are improving the predictability of the regulatory framework. So the regulator is developing or has developed some of the regulations that we would need to create that predictability within the sector. But on the ministry side, we have also come up with ways on making credit affordable. We have a financial intermediator, the Uganda Electricity Credit Capitalization Company, that is supposed to aggregate finance and offer it to the developers and all those that need that financing at affordable rates. So that's one intervention by government to make sure that financing is affordable. Beyond that, we know that financing, especially where you need blended financing, grant and maybe loan, government continues to do technical support or continues to work with the private sector to identify opportunities for financing, for example, for grants that again would lower that financing. The other ways that we've also provided some incentives, for example, for a mini-grid developer, government takes over the role of evacuation and connection. So there is a subsidy to developers to lower the capex. So there are all these incentives in space, and of course in some cases the incentives go beyond that. We support in identification of sites that would give you a higher return on investment as a mini-grid developer.
That in turn also generates revenue and also leads to the socio-economic development in turn. So it basically helps bring opportunity nearer to people that don't have access to electricity.
Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Alliance. We are an umbrella organization that represents the private sector actors within the renewable energy space. So we are a membership organization, and we take the companies, businesses that are within the renewable energy space. Basically, the aim is to come together as the sector, have one voice and be able to engage the government in order to create a conducive business environment.
And with that story, we do end our bulletin. Thank you so much again for allowing us into your lunchtime space. My name is Patricia Lukoma Mpango. A very good afternoon to you.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *100 *10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100 *10 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial